In this video, we're talking about all things high frequencies in terms of EQing and your mixes. So that high-end shimmer, the brightness, that hi-fi sound, but also making sure that things aren't too bright or harsh in those super high-end frequencies. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the language surrounding this area and some common things to look out for. So let's jump in. So let's move on to the high mids from about 1K to 10K, and let's listen to what this sounds like. So notice how in this area we lose a lot of the body of those chords, but we hear the attack of the snare and we hear the air of the flute coming through, as well as the super high end attack of that piano line, and the bass is pretty much gone. So when we talk about edge and clarity, we're typically talking about from about 3 to 4K here. And if we boost too much of this area and stuff like rock guitars, it can really bring out their hissy character because they're very mid-range heavy instruments. However, boosting around 3K on a vocal can really enhance its clarity, and around 5K its presence, depending on where you want the syllables and the vocal to sit in your mix. So this 5K area really brings out the presence and the character in many instruments. So whether you need some makeup on a dull vocal or some shine on your toms, or really to bring out the bite on an electric guitar, this 5K area just really makes it shine. And cutting in this range will really make instruments sound more distant if you really need to pull something back in your mix. When we approach the 7K area, we start getting into what is called sibilance. And this is a problem area typically with vocals when the S's are very sharp and harsh. And typically we'll cut this frequency area with something like a de-esser to reduce the harshness of those S's, or sibilance. However, boosting in this range can really add some brilliance to stuff like your guitars or your piano parts or even your synthesizers. Boosting in this brilliance range can also pull a vocal very much to the front of the mix and make it feel closer to you and really make any instrument sound more brilliant. Next, let's talk about high frequencies, which is from about 10 kilohertz and above, and it sounds like this. So notice in this frequency area, we're mostly only getting the super high end of that hi-hat and any other cymbals that will be happening. This final stretch of the spectrum from around 10 kilohertz and above is often referred to as air. This area just adds high-end sheen to your instruments. However, it doesn't always sound good to go ahead and boost everything up there excessively. This can quickly result in trebly and obnoxious high-end craziness. As the name implies, adding air can kind of lift up the higher frequencies and open up instruments that occupy the part of the spectrum. So it can really enhance the qualities of a room or the dynamics of a performance because you're accentuating the super high-end harmonics of a sound. When we get to 14 kilohertz and above, this is almost barely audible to most of us, but we can use this to subtly brighten things up if they sound a little dull. And this can really add some brightness to something without trampling over the rest of your mix since it's so high up in the frequency spectrum. That wraps it up for this video. And now with the foundational understanding of every frequency range, the language we use, some things to look out for as you're mixing and working with EQ, you're off to the races to make an amazing sounding mix. If you haven't already, definitely check out the Audio Issues EQ. The link is in the description. I hope these last few videos have been valuable and useful for you, and I will see you in the next video.